But what that will do, it's going to throw a curveball to some of these teams. To your point, a lot of the notes and a lot of the records that they have are hot, humid, very slick conditions, new tire, lower temperatures. There are a lot of unknowns that these teams are trying to sift through right now.
Yeah, you're right about that. And the big question mark is going to be, what are the track conditions going to be like? The Xfinity Series practiced yesterday. They were on the track a little earlier today with just single lap qualifying, just one round. So the track sat overnight. No rain came through the area, but this is a different surface, different ambient temperature, but the sun is beating down right now. And the opening 2, now 3 laps are going on the board. Ty Gibbs here in Group 2 has gone to the top of the leaderboard. When we come back, we'll tell you all the drivers and where they're running on the leaderboard here in Group Number 1. From Worldwide Technology Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Hello?
Hey, Tim. It's your man tank. I think those veggies in the crisper are drying up.
I know. I've been meaning to eat those. I'll get around to it.
Get around to it.
I will, man. Jeez. All right?
Or just eat Jack Link's jerky. Smoked, seasoned. Some real meat would do you a lot of good, Tim. Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Official meat snack of NASCAR. Feed your wild side.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Black Buffalo products are intended for adults age 21 and older who are consumers of nicotine or tobacco.
Hey, it's Ryan Blaney, 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion. If you know me, I did Black Buffalo Long Cut. Black Buffalo is America's only credible smokeless tobacco alternative. Black Buffalo was established in America in 2015, and it dips just like the real thing, without the tobacco leaf or stem. You can find Black Buffalo at thousands of retailers across the USA near you. Black Buffalo Tobacco Alternative. If it's everything you love about dip, nothing you don't.
We welcome you back to Worldwide Technology Raceway, technically in Madison, Illinois, right on the banks of the mighty Mississippi River. Just behind us is the skyline and the gateway arch of downtown St. Louis, Missouri.
18 cars on the racetrack right now. Group 1 cars getting 25 minutes, of which 5 have already elapsed. Cody Ware is out there, along with Ty Dillon. Michael McDowell. Riley Herbst is on the track. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is as well. Justin Haley's a part of Group 1. So is Todd Gilliland, Cole Custer, and Daniel Suarez on the racetrack right now.
Along with Ty Gibbs, Noah Gregson, Zane Smith, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Preece, Carson Hocevar, Chris Buescher, Kyle Busch, and John Hunter Nemechek, the Group 1 cars on the track.
Ty Gibbs fastest so far. Brad Keselowski, Carson Hocevar, Todd Gilliland, Cole Custer, the fast 5. We mentioned Steve Post and Chris Wilner patrolling the pit lane for us. Chris, what do you have for us down there so far?
Yeah, well, Mike, we are in the camp for Kyle Busch, the 2023 winner of this race, and a driver that many maybe put their arrows on as somebody that could be strong this weekend. Now, just checked in with the team. Kyle only ran a handful of laps. He's already on pit road here at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway with a no-handling race car. Said it was really hard on the left rear tire. They are some 4/10ths consistently off the pace, so they brought him down pit road. They're going to go ahead and jack up the left side of the race car and get to work on his Chevrolet. This could be a big weekend for Kyle. Obviously, we know not in the playoff picture, but coming to a racetrack he's been oh so good at the last couple of years. Talked to Randall Burnett, his crew chief. He said, we felt confident with the setup coming in here. Now, the only variable that's different different are the conditions and the fact that we've got a new tire this year. This is the same tire that they ran back at Iowa, but they're running the intermediate aero package here in the Cup Series, different from the short track package at Iowa. So a lot of things still to figure out with this team, but the driver making his 100th Cup Series start for RCR this weekend, Kyle Busch, not happy as he sits here on pit road.
Now, he is 17th of 18 drivers that have taken time. Ty Gibbs is the fastest. Brad Keselowski second quick. Carson Hocevar, Todd Gilliland, Cole Custer are the fast five as we sit right now. Most drivers on their 8th or 9th lap. Steve Post is also up on the pit lane. Postman, what kind of things are you looking at?
Well, and it's a lot what you guys said right in the first portion of this broadcast. The uncertainty here, the new tire that Chris just talked about, the weather conditions certainly has everyone wondering what this is going to race like, because we've never seen this here in the 4 years we've been here at this great racetrack here just outside of St. Louis. So those are a couple questions, and then how they run over the long run. Like a lot of these practice sessions, I think the goal for everybody is to go out and do a long run and to see what your car does, how your car trends, and really how much speed comes out of the tires. We've heard all kinds of speculation. Oh, the tire's going to wear a lot of speed out of these things. It's going to be a major tire management race. We've heard others, in fact, heard some drivers this morning saying, are 2 tires on pit stops going to be a call? Will there be fuel-only stalls? So fuel-only calls. A lot of learning going on, and a lot of it cycles around what the speed degradation, the fall-off of time is on these tires. And not only these drivers out on the racetrack now, but their teammates and the drivers that go out in the second group, they are all keeping a keen eye on lap times, what lanes they're running. Oh, by the way, they're shifting also. They're downshifting twice into turn number 1, downshifting 1 time in turn number 3. There is all kinds of variables and all kinds of questions coming into this weekend here at this racetrack.
So let's give you the lay of the land as far as the playoff leaderboard is concerned. Alex mentioned a moment ago, Chase Briscoe is already on to the round of 12 by winning the Cookout Southern 500 last weekend at Darlington. Denny Hamlin is second. He is 43 points above the cut line. Kyle Larson's third. He's in by 38. Tyler Reddick is fourth. He's in by 35. Bubba Wallace is fifth. He's in by 25. William Byron is in by 25 as well. Bubba and William tied for that fifth spot. In seventh, you've got Ryan Blaney. He's in by 22. Ross Chastain is eighth. He's in by 21. But, Alex, this is where things start to get tight, just a tick. Austin Cindric is ninth. He's in by 12. Christopher Bell's 10th, in by 11. Chase Elliott is 11th. He's in by 9. And Shane Van Gisbergen is on the cut line right now, in by 3. The 4 on the outside looking in are Joey Logano out by 3, Austin Dillon out by 8, and Alex Bowman and Josh Berry out by 19. The both of them.
And let's put an asterisk beside the Shane Van Gisbergen name, who is, as Mike pointed out, 12th on the board, plus 3 on the point cut. This is the first time he's ever stepped foot on this property, let alone seen it in person. So he never raced in an Xfinity car here because the Xfinity cars haven't raced here for quite a while. Never ran a Craftsman truck here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. So we're going to pay close attention when he gets on the track here in group number 2, exactly how he adapts. And he's got 25 minutes to adapt and adapt quickly. But again, no playoff drivers here in Group 1. They're all in Group number 2. One of them is Cole Custer. Let's learn more about Cole Custer's practice going on right now.
So far, so good. He was worried about his line down in turns 1 and 2, and they said, everyone is a little lower than you. And then a lap or 2 later, they said, correction, Ty Gibbs has just moved up to the same line you were running. So they felt good about that. He felt like the car was a little loose off from the corner, and that's where he was giving up speed. I just took a peek at the speed chart, single laps. He's 5th fastest, so he's not too far off the reservation, but he brings the car in now to the attention of the crew, and they're going to make some adjustments on the Cole Custer car. Big news week for Cole Custer and this race team. Race team's going to continue on run the balance of this season out as they are. This team made a manufacturer change announcement this week. They're going to go from Ford Motor Company, Ford Racing as it's now going to be known, to the Chevrolet camp. They're going to have an alliance with Rick Hendrick Motorsports, and so it'll be interesting to see how that factors in over these final 9 races of the season as they work their way out of the Ford camp and then next year work their way into the Chevrolet camp. So Cole Custer, we'll see how it goes. Again, he's 5th fastest here, a little bit loose up off in the corners, but I will tell you another thing about this race car, guys. It has Andy's frozen custard on it, and I know it's not 95 degrees and high humidity. That car looks good, and Andy Frozen's custard wouldn't be bad down here, even though it is a seasonably cooler day. So we'll see what happens with Cole Custer here as he gets ready to go back on the racetrack.
Andy's frozen custard is good if it's 90 above or 90 below. But back to that news we were talking about. Chevrolet now will be the new home for Haas factory team in 2026. That news came out a couple of days ago. Basically a renewal of sorts and a homecoming, because when Gene Haas fired his race team up in 2002, they were a Chevy team, and it has its ripple effects, Alex. Obviously, they'll be fielding Chevrolets on Sundays, but they'll be fielding Chevrolets on Saturdays as well.
Yeah, in 2026 will be the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, which is now the Xfinity Series. So, yeah, it's going to be a new move across the board. And let's face it, they needed to do something. When they realigned and Tony Stewart decided to get out of the ownership business and go from Stewart Haas Racing to simply this year the Haas factory team, one Cup car, the handful of Xfinity cars. What are you going to do? Where's the program going to go? Where's the alliance? Where's the technical support going to come from? Because let's face it, Mike, everything basically starts at the Cup level and trickles down from there. And they needed to find something solid to latch onto, and they've done that, obviously, with Hendrick Motorsports.
Had a chance to talk with Joe Custer, the president of Haas factory team, earlier this week. He said that they have the full commitment from Ford Racing through the end of the year. A lot of times when some of these business deals take place where there's a change of manufacturer, teams get cut out of information and kind of left behind. Ford has affirmed to Haas factory team that it has its full support, and Joe said, though, when conversations about 2026 come up, we will respectfully step aside, let those conversations take place so they, at Haas factory team, can engage in their 2026 conversations with Chevrolet. So that one of the biggest news stories of the week, that change of manufacturer for Haas factory team. Cole Custer, its driver right now, 5th of 18 cars that have practiced for the Enjoy Illinois 300. From Worldwide Technology Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Every time the siren sounds or lights flash, someone's life is on the line. At Whelen Engineering, we know first responders carry that weight every day. That's why for over 70 years, we've led the emergency warning industry, designing and manufacturing the lights, sirens, and safety systems they trust right here in America. Because when the mission is critical, there's no room for second best. Whelen Engineering, trusted to protect first responders.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-212-2828. 800-212-2828. That's 800-212-2828.
Learn more by visiting victoryjunction.org.
Back at Worldwide Technology Raceway, practice for the Enjoy Illinois 300 underway here on the Motor Racing Network. Ty Gibbs is the man out in front so far.
On single lap speeds, he's got Brad Keselowski behind him in second. Carson Hocevar, Todd Gilliland, and Cole Custer are the fast five on single lap speeds. But, Mike, we got to look at the longer averages here and see how things play out there in the 10 and 15 consecutive lap averages.
This is where you start to see some different drivers pop up. Ty Gibbs is fast on the 5-lap average. Carson Hocevar behind him, Michael McDowell behind him there. You look at the 10-lap averages, the longer run. You got Brad Keselowski in the number 1 spot with Ty Gibbs and Michael McDowell behind him. And then you get to the 15-lap average. Michael McDowell's the best there. Ty Gibbs and Zane Smith of Front Row Motorsports popping up there. So you're starting to see some different names pop up over the longer haul, which, quite frankly, this is what these teams are interested in right now. They're trying to get a gauge of how these cars behave over a longer haul should we have that long green flag run tomorrow.
But only 8 cars have run more than 15 laps, so we really don't have a true gauge on the 15-lap consecutive average because half of the field hasn't even run 15 consecutive laps. So, yes, but it's practice, and we're trying to figure out. Everybody's got their own agendas down there, and as we heard the report right off the bat, Kyle Busch's car did not handle well off the truck. They had to come in immediately and make changes.
A car that is handling well is a driver in the 8th position right now. We're speaking of John Hunter Nemechek, driving for Legacy Motor Club, coming off the top 5 finish a weekend ago in the Cookout Southern 500, Postman.
Yeah, and that was a career best finish for John Hunter Nemechek, so he is on a high. There is no doubt about it, and the car is pretty good here. You mentioned he's 8th fastest on single lap speed. The car just developed a little bit tight. That means the nose wants to slide up the racetrack, so they just brought it down to the attention of the crew and made an adjustment on it. Then Bay Shore, the crew chief down here, and the crew made an adjustment to try to make this car a little bit freer, a little bit more loose, if you will. Mentioned that 4th place finish at Darlington, the career best. He also won a Truck Series race here at this racetrack back in 2017. Of note down here watching, Eric Jones. Eric, one of the few non-playoff drivers that is in the second group down here, and Eric is keeping a keen eye on this one as well. Eric himself coming off from back-to-back top 5 finishes with that run at Daytona and run at Darlington. So the Legacy Motor Club really putting together a nice stretch of this season right now, and they're hoping to continue on. John Hunter Nemechek, he's out on the racetrack now. The volume, the tone on the radio sounds a little bit better on the race car and the handling than he had that first time when the car was very tight over the course of the laps that he ran.
Well, that's interesting how that plays out. You know, Legacy Motor Club's had a pretty good year this year, and when you throw in the fact that they had a great Cookout Southern 500 a week ago, it really plays into the hands that they know that they're going the right direction. And when you look at what they've been able to do here, to go back to Darlington just 1 week, it's the first time 2 drivers in Legacy Motor Club's lineup has finished top 4 in a race. First time finishing in the top 5 back-to-back races since 2012, when the team was then known as Richard Petty Motorsports. So tells you what kind of rough sledding it's been, but the direction they're going.
Eric Jones finished 3rd, John Hunter Nemechek 4th last weekend in Darlington. Ty Gibbs continues to be the fastest in single lap speed. Chris, what's the update?
And Mike, they're continuing to work now on the long run, as you guys mentioned, was leading the 5-lap average there over a couple of minutes ago. Checked in with the crew, and Ty very happy with the race car until about lap 22, when he said it just got really tight. Chris Gabehart, who's on the radio for Ty, as well as crew chief Tyler Allen, kind of coaching him through some things he can do behind the wheel of the race car. But one thing they are starting to talk about is, although it's not a huge factor, there is quite a bit of a tailwind off of turn number 4 that'll kind of push you down the front straightaway, and then once you come off turn number 2, you get a bit of a headwind coming right at the front windshield. So having to negotiate where you downshift and where the car needs to be placed to avoid some of those conditions is something they're working with Ty Gibbs. So this has kind of been a fact of what Ty's been able to do the last couple of weeks. The Lone Ranger for Joe Gibbs Racing in group number 1, kind of an anomaly. I don't know how much you can learn in group 1, but what you can do is set your teammates up for success based off how the track conditions end. So as the more rubber gets put down, the track continues to change, could help the teammates here for group number 2. But Ty Gibbs happy with the race car until about lap 21. Said it got really tight. They're going to run this thing out till the end and burn as much fuel off as they can to have a little bit of a lighter load when they go qualifying in just a little bit.
They have now run 32 consecutive laps. They've been on the track ever since it went green. Gibbs still the fastest on single lap speeds. From Worldwide Technology Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
You've never been one to idly watch someone else do something for you. There's pride in self-reliance, in working with your hands, in harnessing the power of an E3 spark plug with Diamond Fire technology, yielding better engine performance. You have a choice to make. Take control of your ride, of your life, or be the passenger princess of it. Visit e3sparkplugs.com to put the power in your hands.
Tuesday nights. On Thursday, we go wide open with some of the sport's biggest legends.
Dover's so good that even concrete couldn't ruin it.
And some of NASCAR's rising stars.
I don't like getting drove in the back of, and I honestly don't like doing it, but you're not buddy-buddy with everybody, and I've had to learn that.
NASCAR Live Wide Open has you covered from the rookie class all the way to the Hall of Fame. Subscribe now wherever you listen to podcasts.
Practice in pole qualifying from Worldwide Technology Raceway is brought to you on MRN by E3 Spark Plugs. Stuck in slow motion? Unleash the NASCAR fire inside your engine with E3 Spark Plugs. Forget pit stops, too. E3 gives you maximum fuel efficiency for more miles on the road and less time at the pump. E3 Spark Plugs. Power, speed, domination. Get yours today.
Practice continues. 4 minutes to go for Group 1 cars here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Brad Keselowski, number 2 on the leaderboard. What is the update there for the driver of the number 6 flagship RFK car there, Postman?
They are very happy with their car, specifically over the long run. When you look at the 10-lap average, they're the fastest car on the 10-lap average. Now, we don't have a 15-lap average to go by. He came in on lap number 14 to make a little adjustment to the race car, but very happy with the race car, and really, why not? Here comes Brad down pit road now. Window net is down. He's done for the day as far as practice goes. Finished 3rd here last year in this race, so it was a very strong run for him. He also won here in the NASCAR Xfinity Series way back, 15 years ago, back in 2010. So this racetrack has always been good for Brad, and I'm not really surprised. It seems like they've got a pretty good setup dialed in to his car, and Brad seems very confident, very comfortable. I think they've got a good car specifically on the long run, and that's what you're looking for here at this racetrack.
Brad Keselowski has only lost about 9/10 of a second a lap from his fast lap, which was the 5th circuit, to now his 24th lap out on the racetrack. Compared to Ty Gibbs, the fastest single lap speed, Gibbs has now run 37 consecutive laps, and Ty Gibbs has fallen off to the tone of 1.4 seconds a lap from his fast lap.
Fastest laps are being turned in anywhere between the 2, 3, 4, and 5 lap range. And then, of course, these teams are staying out. The driver that has been on the racetrack the most is the driver that's number 1 in single lap average, or single lap speeds, I should say. Ty Gibbs, 38th lap. He has just put on the leaderboard. Ryan Preece has been out 37. Also, the car of Riley Herbst has been out for 34 laps. So with 2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining, let's go downstairs and check in with Chris.
And you guys just talked about Ty Gibbs leading the single lap speed, but again, the focus has been now on the long run as they wanted to run this entire session out. The thing I'm noticing now is the spotter chatter trying to work the different lines of this racetrack. You think of this racetrack being so different between turns 1 and 2 and turns 3 and 4. Well, the focus is on turn 3 and 4, and the fact that that second lane may start to be an option for drivers once that tire fall off starts to be significant. You heard in my last report, he mentioned a tight race car after about 25 laps. Well, now they start to move him up the hill. He said it solved it just a little bit, but again, trying to run this whole session out because it could be a big factor here as far as the long run speed the farther we go in tomorrow's race. Steve Post?
And Chris, listening to you report on that, it just triggered what I've been hearing on Chris Buescher's radio. You talked about adjusting to the middle groove of the racetrack. Chris Buescher was not good down on the bottom of the racetrack. When he went to that middle groove, everything picked up better than on that race car. Now, he still wants it a little bit better. He's not able to get on the gas as quick as he wants to, but Chris, to your point, once he moved up a groove on the racetrack, just like they were talking about with Ty Gibbs, they found some speed in that car, and that's what these practice sessions are about, finding the fast way around the racetrack, and I think Buescher wants a little bit more, but moving up a lane, just like Chris described with Ty Gibbs, seems to be working for Chris Buescher as well.
Yeah, Chris Buescher's last lap was 34.127 seconds. To put that into perspective, his teammate Brad Keselowski's last lap, 33.9 seconds. Brad, one of the fastest laps out there. Later, he's gone. So I think Chris Buescher, who obviously drives for Brad Keselowski, Roush Fenway Keselowski, they're in the same ballpark as far as lap times go, and you would think, along with their other car, Ryan Preece, that they have very similar setups under their race cars.
And they've had an uptick in performance lately. Chris and Scott Graves and everybody over that RFK team, 3 top 10s in the last 4 races of the season. Of course, remember, it was this time 1 year ago when they missed the playoffs, like they did this year, and they won race 2 of the playoffs, which last year was at Watkins Glen International, and he basically moved Shane Van Gisbergen to do it and walked away with a win.
Yeah, you got to think, inside the walls of RFK's race shop, with the 3 cars they had and the uptick at the end of last year's performance as the red and black flags go in the air, practice is wrapping up here for group number 1. You got to think it was just an absolute gut punch to not even have a single RFK car in the playoffs.
Check in with Chris.
And Mike, as the red and black flags are out for the end of this first session of practice, one thing that the teams now opt to do, at least many of them, including Ty Gibbs, is the hot pit road entry. Here at Worldwide Technology Raceway Gateway, it's a tricky pit road, not only because it's pretty long on the front straightaway, but because they don't monitor pit road speed in the entrance point, which is turn 3. The pit road technically doesn't start until off of turn number 4 in the commitment line. So talking into Ty Gibbs, the crew was letting him know about maybe some delta points or areas that he can maintain and gain speed through the corners number 3 and 4 before hitting that 40 miles an hour on the exit at turn number 4. So that's one thing that's unique about here. And then on the exit, same thing. You got to use the access road all the way to the exit at turn 2, but you can make time there if you can. So it'll be something to watch here if any other drivers in Group 2 opt to do that.
Group 1 is done. Ty Gibbs, fastest overall. Brad Keselowski, Carson Hocevar, Todd Gilliland, and Cole Custer, the fast 5 in the first group. Group 2 on the way. From Worldwide Technology Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
In Illinois, it's easy to get caught up in the rush. Flying through history on Route 66, America's most famous road trip. Or turning your world upside down on coasters at Six Flags Great America. But when you're in the middle of everything, don't forget to slow down and enjoy every pit stop. From delicious deep dish bites to breathtaking views. Because in Illinois, even the detours are legendary. Plan your trip at enjoyillinois.com. Illinois, the middle of everything.
Hello?
Hey, it's your man Tank. Watching you hold back tears swallowing that celery stick. It's a hard sight to see, Tim.
I'm almost done. Just let me get this down.
Stop it, man. Seriously. We don't have to do this to us.
You're right. I hate veggies so much. How can I be more like you?
Hey, buddy, I am you. Just full of meat. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, official meat snack of NASCAR. Feed your wild side.
Speedway.com, Ticketmaster, the official ticketing partner of NASCAR.
Back at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway, we are in the middle of practice for the Enjoy Illinois 300. Group 2 cars are about to get their 25 minutes. Once that concludes, then everybody will get one lap of qualifying for tomorrow's Cup race.
Right now, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Motor Racing Network. Motor Racing Network live at Worldwide Technology Raceway in Madison, Illinois. I'm Alex Hayden. Alongside is Mike Bagley with Steve Post and Chris Wilner on the pit lane. Group 1 cars have wrapped up their practice session. Ty Gibbs was the fastest on the single lap speeds. Michael McDowell was the best on the 15 consecutive lap average. However, all the playoff drivers are in group number 2 along with some of the other non-playoff competitors.
If you're just joining us, we're in the practice and qualifying exercise for tomorrow's race. Don't forget, coming up later tonight, it'll be the NASCAR Xfinity Series regular season finale. It'll be the new A200 sauced by Blues Hog. That'll be on the air at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, tomorrow, we're back with NASCAR Live Race Day for the Enjoy Illinois 300 right here at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
It's a beautiful day for racing. And, you know, Mike, this is one of those uniquely shaped racetracks that we run on back-to-back weeks where we had oblong or egg-shaped type racetracks. Last week, Darlington turns 3 and 4 were the smaller end, turns 1 and 2 the wider end. Just the opposite here at 1.25 miles around. Turns 1 and 2 here much tighter than turns 3 and 4. We'll talk a little more about this racetrack and just how unique it is when we come back from Worldwide Technology Raceway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-212-2828. 800-212-2828. That's 800-212-2828.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Black Buffalo products are intended for adults age 21 and older who are consumers of nicotine or tobacco.
Hey, it's Ryan Blaney, 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion. If you know me, I did Black Buffalo long cut. Black Buffalo is America's only credible smokeless tobacco alternative. Black Buffalo was established in America in 2015, and it dips just like the real thing, without the tobacco leaf or stem. You can find Black Buffalo at thousands of retailers across the USA near you. Black Buffalo Tobacco Alternative. If it's everything you love about dip, nothing you don't.
Back at the 1.25 mile Worldwide Technology Raceway, the Group 2 drivers are just about ready to go on the track for their one and only practice session for the weekend. Group 1 drivers were paced by Ty Gibbs, and let's hear from him now.
And Ty has the Sirius XM colors. It's a sharp-looking race car, fastest in single lap. What did you learn, though, over the course of the long run as you ran the most laps there in Group 1?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pass for sure. So I learned that, and I already knew that. But I think we've got a great race car, and we're going to go out there and give it our best shot. I think we've got a good shot. I think we were really fast here last year. So we're going to go hammer down and see where we end up.
I know you guys shift probably more on this oval than anywhere else. How much did that change as the tires began to fall off?
Yeah, it definitely affects the downshifting. You can easily hurt the rear tires, and then you start seeing people, get whacked the tail a little bit on the exit. So just got to be smart in what you do and hammer down.
All right, that's Ty Gibbs. Again, has the Sirius XM colors on that Toyota. He'll go plug in and watch the SMT data for his other Joe Gibbs teammates here in Group number 2.
He was number 1 on single lap runs. Let's talk with the driver that was 8th in single lap runs. He's with Steve Post.
Yeah, John Hunter Nemechek down here debriefing a little bit with Travis Mack down here as they talk about it. John Hunter had another thought because he jumps in and him and crew chief Travis Mack just chit-chatting about something. Car looks like it might have been a little loose. I'm watching the body language here with John Hunter Nemechek, and it sounds like it might have been snapping loose. So they're having a little conversation as far as the driver and the crew chief goes to see what they can learn about the race car, and we'll see if we can catch a word with John Hunter right now, as a matter of fact, as he heads this way. And little debrief session. John Hunter, little debrief there with Travis. What'd you learn about your race car?
We got a little bit of work to do, but I feel like our Pi Barker Toyota Camry XSE is pretty decent right now. So we'll see. I felt like our long run speed was okay. Short run speed, so back to the drawing board a little bit, fighting a couple different balance issues. So trying to figure out which one is the most important to try and fix here and try and get more speed out of our race car.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, it's always a challenge when you have multiple issues just trying to figure out. That's John Hunter Nemechek. They're going back to work on it. They'll also watch Eric Jones, their teammate in the Family Dollar colors. He's going on the racetrack, so we'll see how that applies to what John Hunter and Travis Mack learn during this second group of practice.
Eric Jones and company in that second group will be on track momentarily from Worldwide Technology Raceway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
55 years of Motor Racing Network broadcasts.
Bobby Allison brings the race car right down in the middle of the track, crosses the start-finish line, and he will win the 24th annual Daytona 500.
Bill Elliott wins the Hooters 500. Alan Kulwicki, 1992 champion.
MRN Classic Races.
And the whole pack steaming for the finish line. Dale Earnhardt wins a Winston 500.
Find all the classic moments on MRN Classic Races on any podcast platform.
With Steven Wilson and Zach Novak locked into the championship four already, the remaining 8 playoff drivers have just one race left to go to punch their ticket to the finale in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. NASCAR's officially sanctioned esports series featuring the top sim racers from around the world. Don't forget to tune in September 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern for the Logi Play 120 at Phoenix on eNASCAR.com. Brought to you by Coca-Cola, iRacing, and NASCAR.
Back at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway, we are getting ready for Group 2 cars to enter the racetrack for their 25 minutes of practice. When those drivers take to the track, that roster will include A.J. Allmendinger, also Eric Jones, Josh Berry, Alex Bowman, Shane Van Gisbergen, Christopher Bell, Austin Dillon, and Joey Logano.
Along with William Byron, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney. You've got Kyle Larson, Austin Cindric, Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, and Chase Briscoe. All the playoff drivers here in group number 2, along with those other 2 in Allmendinger and Jones that are non-playoff drivers. This is going to be an interesting session here, Mike, because the track is now worked in after 25 minutes of practice from Group 1 in which Ty Gibbs was the best. We'll find out right now, I think, what the benchmark is going to be.
You know, Alex, when sitting here in the tower, we're looking over this racetrack. This racetrack has been on the NASCAR landscape for a while. Then it went away, and then it's come back. When this track first came online, it was home to NASCAR Craftsman Truck and NASCAR Busch Series racing back in the day. It's evolved with those series. It went away after JBMotorsports Group liquidated this facility, and it's come back to life when Curtis Francois and company purchased this racetrack. They've revived it. This was a lot of disappointment for fans in this area when this track went dormant for a while, but now it's come back to life. This is a destination for a Midwestern race fan.
Yeah, and they have turned out here this practice and qualifying session. Grandstands have got a ton of people in them. The midway is arguably the best midway on the entire NASCAR circuit.
No doubt.
It is packed with folks down there right now as well. But, yeah, to your point with the history of this place, the first NASCAR event at this facility was on July 26th in 1997. Incidentally, my first year with the network. A NASCAR Xfinity Series race. It was won by, do you know?
Kevin Harvick?
Elliott Sadler.
Oh, you know how I know? Okay, thank you for jogging my memory. That day was hotter than the hubs of Hades.
Yeah,
here.
It was.
And the track was coming up. Elliott Sadler won that race. I was over in Topeka because the next day the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series raced the Lundlook 175, if I'm not mistaken, and it was hotter there. Like, when we say hot, the temperature was in like 115, 120, and that's not heat index.
Yeah.
It was a roaster of a day that day.
Yeah, I was not here. I was in Heartland Park, Topeka myself for that one. And by the way, the first Craftsman Truck Series race was a year later, September 19th in 1998. And the High Plains Drifter got the win for that one. That is Rick Corelli, who now is a spotter for the NASCAR Cup Series.
Group 2 cars on the racetrack right now as everybody's just trying to see what their car has, see how the tires react, and see what they have for the one lap of qualifying later today. But with the 160-lap race tomorrow, or the 240-lap race tomorrow, I should say, for the NASCAR Cup cars.
We mentioned Chase Briscoe with his win in the Cookout Southern 500 at Darlington a week ago. He's already moved on to the next round of the playoffs. So if you're thinking they're coming out here just to kind of coast, think again. Think about it this way. They want to go out and dominate this thing. They want to win both stages. They want to win the race to prevent the competition from getting a leg up and giving them an extra week of prep as well. So there's still absolutely plenty to go out there and race hard for with these Group 2 drivers. I'm sorry, not with Group 2 drivers, but with Chase Briscoe, who is part of the Group 2 drivers out here.
So on the racetrack right now, we've got Briscoe, we've got everybody else that we mentioned a moment ago. The fastest of these drivers so far, Kyle Larson, 12th overall. Denny Hamlin, second quickest. Chase Elliott, third quickest. As the clock is rolling, 22 minutes and 25 seconds remain. From Worldwide Technology Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Jeff Gordon wins the Daytona 500.
Jeff Gordon's rise to one of NASCAR's all-time greatest drivers was one like no other. Relive Jeff Gordon's journey to the NASCAR Hall of Fame with the exclusive MRN podcast, Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career. 93 Cup Series wins, 4 Cup Series championships, and 3 Daytona 500 wins, a career rivaled by few others. Check out MRN's Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career on podcast platforms and MRN.com.
Gear up. Visit the NASCAR shop online to find all of your favorite officially licensed NASCAR product. The NASCAR shop is the official online store of NASCAR and your destination for all of your favorite hats, t-shirts, diecast, and more. Whether tailgating, home gating, or anything in between, visit NASCAR.com/shop for the widest assortment and best selection of NASCAR gear today.
Back at Worldwide Technology Raceway, Group 2 cars on the track practicing for the Enjoy Illinois 300. When we left you, Kyle Larson and company in this group were just getting some laps under their belt. Alex Larson has rocketed up to the second spot overall on the single lap leaderboard, and that is a team that needs a good run this weekend just after that horrendous weekend that Hendrick Motorsports had a weekend ago in Darlington.
Yeah, and you're right. It wasn't just Kyle Larson. It was the entire Hendrick Motorsports organization a week ago. I spoke to a high-ranking Hendrick Motorsports official in the garage earlier today, and he said this was a very difficult week, and there was a lot of long faces when they got back to the shop to get ready to debrief Darlington, but also look ahead now to Worldwide Technology Raceway. And maybe a stern conversation or two was held along the way, understanding that the performance as an organization that they put on in Darlington was unacceptable for Hendrick Motorsports, knowing that this particular racetrack has not yielded the best results either for that team. They have to get up and get things going in the right direction. And at least here in practice, Kyle Larson's doing that. He's the best of these Group 2 drivers.
Well, it was an eye-opening weekend, I believe, for all of us. The highest Hendrick finishing car at Darlington was Chase Elliott in 17th. Alex Bowman was the lowest. They had a lot of problems on pit road. And it was just an out-of-character day for Hendrick, because when you think of playoffs, you think of their successes at Darlington, you think of their successes in the playoffs, you think of those cars are going to be top 5, top 10 all day, and that was not the case. And I can imagine that those were some pretty uncomfortable discussions and meetings that were had in the wake of matters last weekend at Darlington, trying to come into this race and just trying to get their sea legs back under them, because if not, then you got to go all in and try to improve performance next weekend at Bristol.
Yeah, and, go back to Alex Bowman's bad pit stop where they had an air gun malfunction. The teams, by rule, every pit cart can have one extra Paoli pit gun down there. And preparation and the details, as they say, the devil's in the details, you always have that gun hooked up to its own air tank, ready to go. Well, the Hendrick Motorsports team of Alex Bowman on that pit stop when the gun failed, they had the spare gun. It just wasn't hooked up to anything. And it was chaos down there trying to get that taken care of. Speaking with that official from Hendrick earlier today, they said, believe me, that will never happen again, ever. And if it does, there may be a person or two looking for new jobs, including that person I was talking to. And I'd keep that person anonymous. But, that's just part of it. And I think that was as much a big of the eyebrow raiser to me is the lack of preparation out of that team, which is usually so meticulous and so detail-oriented, to have so many problems and mistakes on pit road and things of that nature. It was a bit of a head-scratcher.
Well, right now, Hendrick Motorsports second overall on the leaderboard. Kyle Larson, the fastest of these cars in Group 2. Chris Wilner?
Yeah, so far so good for Kyle as far as the fire-off speed, but this car hit a cliff in a hurry and quickly went to the tight side around this racetrack. So Kyle Larson and Cliff Daniels opted to come down and make a change just to help adjust that. They want to be a little bit freer, especially going into qualifying. So taking the time here to make an adjustment and then finish out this session is Kyle Larson. Now also on pit road and still on pit road has been Chase Briscoe. You guys talked about the momentum they bring coming into Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. Well, it's nice if you can hear your crew, and Chase Briscoe was having trouble doing that, so they had some radio communication issues. They came down, they've addressed that. Now they're going to make an adjustment on that Bass Pro Shops Toyota. So a couple of early favorites here on pit road for some adjustments. Chase Briscoe finally can hear his crew as they'll get ready to send him back out on the racetrack.
Well, so Chase Briscoe, that's important. Got to be able to hear the team, especially in practice for the communication that they've got going on. So his practice interrupted briefly there to get him back out there. Here in Group 2, Kyle Larson is the fastest. Ryan Blaney is second quick in the Group 2 session right now. That is second overall by Larson and 12th overall by Blaney. But don't worry if you're a fan of them. The track typically in Group 2 is not as good and fast as it is in Group 1. However, you get a better read on what the race conditions are going to be like.
Tyler Reddick right now is 22nd on the leaderboard. Steve Post, what's the story of the driver that finished runner-up in Darlington last weekend?
Well, he's 22nd on the leaderboard, and there's easy for me to say. Let's try this again. Check. They're 22nd on the leaderboard, and that is on the basis of early speed. First lap, second lap, third lap, as you guys have talked about. They feel pretty good over the long run. The car was just a little bit loose. He ran 8 laps, and crew chief Billy Scott said, you can run a little bit more if you want. Tyler says, yeah, I want 2 or 3 more laps. And the car stepped out on him, and he said, check that. I'm going to bring the car right down now. It has just gotten a little free. So this has been a good racetrack. He finished 4th here last week. You mentioned that, or last year. You mentioned that second place run at Darlington, and I don't know in turn number 2 on lap number 1 as that car was sideways if we'd have had him as a second place run. So this team is very, very solid within the point standings. They've got a little bit of a buffer back to the bubble spot, and they feel really good about their race car. Just brought it in, try to loosen or try to tighten it up just a little bit, and send him now back out onto the speedway. So we'll see what happens with Tyler Reddick, how these adjustments, how they fare, and get that car back out on the racetrack and see if it is a little bit better. And they're looking for that long run speed.
As Posey alluded to, Alex, Tyler is 4th on the leaderboard. He is 35 points above the cut line, and he is only about 8 points tied for second of those that have not won a race. That would be with Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, and it's a head scratcher that he has yet to get back to victory lane, and why that is after picking up 3 wins in the NASCAR Cup Series a year ago. So for Tyler Reddick, yeah, they're a playoff contender, and a great start to their playoffs last week, as Postman just alluded to come back here to a racetrack where he had a solid 4th place run a year ago. Tyler Reddick and that Toyota team looking to give Toyota their 200th NASCAR Cup Series win here this weekend. Toyota, doesn't seem like all that long ago. Toyota just came onto the scene in the world of NASCAR racing, and now they're looking for win number 200 in the Cup Series alone.
We were talking last weekend, Alex, that when we begin the 10-race run to the end of the season, that is the playoffs. There are races that stick out more than others that are the thorns in the side of playoff drivers. And it used to be Kansas Speedway. When we would go to Kansas in early October, that would be the one that would take a toll on playoff drivers. Well, last week, Darlington stepped up and became that team with half of the playoff drivers having a problem of one sort or another. There's a lot of head scratching wondering what this one is going to bring tomorrow because of all the unknowns. Cooler temperatures, new tire. It's never been in the playoffs before. It's always been run in hotter conditions. What will this track bring these playoff drivers tomorrow, and how, with whatever will happen, will affect things going into the first elimination race the following weekend at Bristol?
And think of it this way as well. If you look back to last year's race, limited pit stops in that race. 300 miles here is not all that far. So you don't have as many pit stops as you did like a week ago in the Southern 500. They may pit 4 times, maybe 5, depending on how many caution flags fly. We don't know that. But you just don't have that many opportunities to put on fresher tires or adjust the handling of your car if it's just off. And with this racetrack being as unique as it is, very tight down in turns 1 and 2 compared to turns 3 and 4, plus turns 1 and 2 is banked a little bit more at 11 degrees, turns 3 and 4 just 9 degrees. If your car is off the slightest bit in the race, you just don't have that many opportunities to come down and try to fix that.
The driver's very busy going in through turns 1 and 2. We've heard that they're shifting twice. They're downshifting twice going into the corner. Upshifting coming to the back straightaway. Downshifting back into 3 and 4. The drivers are fatigued at the end of this race. However, maybe not as much tomorrow due to the weather, but due to all that physical activity. The drivers are very busy inside the cockpits of these race cars.
Yeah, they are, and that is something that is quite a challenge. But when you think about it like that, somebody very busy behind the cockpit or behind the steering wheel in the cockpit of a race car, think about road racing. You might think about like a Shane Van Gisbergen. We talked about it a moment ago. Shane has never been to this facility before. Right now, in single lap speeds, he is 33rd on the leaderboard as Shane Van Gisbergen. And when you have to downshift and brake hard and downshift and upshift, up and down, you would think Shane Van Gisbergen would have adapted quite well to this. And keep in mind, it's just practice. Maybe he will come race time. But right now, Shane Van Gisbergen is having his struggles, and he's a driver just 3 points to the good after what was a bad Darlington weekend for SVG, where he only scored 5 points at Darlington Raceway, which is his worst points performance in the last 18 races, dating back to the spring race at Bristol, which, incidentally, is the wrap-up race of this opening round of the playoffs.
He's going to have a handful today and also next weekend. We know about his prowess on road courses. Ovals have been a priority for him as he continues to evolve his skill set in NASCAR Cup Series racing. As we have gone on now, we are, let's see here, 11 minutes to go in this practice session for Group 2 cars. We are starting to see some trends in the 5, the 10, and the 15 lap average. But Alex, the one that just caught my attention is the driver now that's bubbled up to the surface. That's the number 1 car that's fastest on the 15 lap average.
And that is Ryan Blaney. And Blaney is not just better on the 15 lap average, he's a full 1/10 of a second better than the next driver in line, which means seems like the chassis is hanging on there for Blaney the longer he goes now. 24 laps into this particular run of their one and only practice session. 12th overall is Blaney in single lap speeds, but to Mike's point, he's the best on the longer run right now, and he's only 22 points to the good after finishing 18th at Darlington a week ago. But he's not the only one. If there's something to be said about that, Mike, there's a lot of drivers who aren't terribly comfortable right now who are playoff competitors.
I'm just looking out at the racetrack. Speaking of terribly comfortable, obviously comfortable with your station in the playoff leaderboard. What about on the racetrack? All of a sudden, Alex, this track has widened out. You've got a handful of drivers that are hugging the curbing down at the bottom of the racetrack, that candy cane colored curbing. But you've also got drivers that are stepping up the racetrack, watching Josh Berry, watching Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin's doing it, William Byron. You've also got Bubba Wallace, Joey Logano, Kyle Larson. They are stepping wider in turns 1 and 2, and even some are stepping wider in turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, Joey Logano's got his bright green Ford this weekend with Hunt Brothers Pizza on it. In turns 3 and 4, he was 3 lanes up the racetrack. The track is really beginning to darken up with that black Goodyear tire rubber, and it's all the way a good car width off of the outside wall through turns 3 and 4. You got to keep the momentum wound up. This is such a momentum racetrack. Hence the downshifting that you do at both ends of the racetrack to keep the RPMs up, because you have such long straightaways here. You've got to be able to get off turn 2 and turn 4 well to be able to make speed on the straightaways. So you try to make the turn as straight as possible. I know that sounds kind of funky, and you might give me the stink eye when you hear that, but the fact of the matter is the wider you go on the track, the less you turn on the steering wheel. So you're not having to really tighten that car right at the bottom of the racetrack. You can let it flow freely through the mid or even upper lanes of the corners to try to keep it wound up, to keep the momentum going.
Watching William Byron doing just as that you described. Comes off the end of the front straightaway and lets the car slide wide, basically lets the car do all the work midway through the corner, and then tries to get back to the gas as quickly as possible. Alex mentioned Shane Van Gisbergen's name a moment ago. Steve Post, what's the update there for the New Zealander?
Well, the New Zealander is learning a new racetrack, as you guys have documented, and there has been nothing about the handle of the race car discussed under this long run. And they've ran 27 laps, 28 laps now. It is all about the feel. And listening to the spotter high atop the spotter stand, crew chief Stephen Doran down here, one car is drawing higher, one car is doing lower, one car is diamonding the corner, and this is all about Shane Van Gisbergen getting a feel for this racetrack. And I think when you look at this project, and we talked to Shane before going into the playoffs, this is not a come out here to Worldwide Technology Raceway, win the pole position, and go forward. This is a how do we learn as much possible here in this session, in the qualifying run, and in the first 250 miles tomorrow, so that by the end of it, we're in decent position to salvage a good day. And that's what it sounds like on the radio. They're just working different lines. Try this lane. They've just encouraged him to go up even a little higher down in lanes 3 and 4, and just to find the feel he's looking for. They'll worry about the race car, but they've got to get their driver acclimated to this track. Shane Van Gisbergen, the first time he's ever been at this racetrack, and boy, it is a steep learning curve when you look at some of the veterans that have experience here, not only in the Cup Series, but Xfinity, Truck Series, ARCA, and SVG is out here learning on the fly. He's probably got about 30 laps total on this racetrack at this point.
The fact of the matter is simulations and being in the sim, believe me, they have their benefits, or they wouldn't be doing it. But there is nothing that can replace actually getting aboard the race car and turning laps and seeing the shift points, see the brake points, figure things out. The way the sun reflects off of the catch fence might mess with your eye as you're driving in. Right now there's a shadow from the admin office in turn number 1 that's got entire turn 1 and some shade down there. Things like that the simulation, which is great, you just don't get that true sense of until you get behind the wheel of the race car and really sense it for yourself.
Well, you can't feel the G-forces, and you can't feel that ambient element that is totally different. Simulation is one thing, and practical application is something totally different. Let's get an update on William Byron with Chris.
William Byron is buried on the single lap speed here at about the 24th position, but what he does like is the long run speed. Just listened into the radio chatter between he and Rudy Fugle. They felt like the fire off speed was just way too tight for that race car, but it's now starting to build neutral and be in a window that he wants. And part of that is because William has found a really interesting diamond line, entering really high in turn number 3 and then kind of cutting down the racetrack and getting his Chevrolet to be pointed straight off the corner. He said, I need a little bit more turn though, so they're going to maybe make an adjustment before the end of this practice session, although with just about 5.5 minutes to go, they may be out of time for that. But William in a comfortable zone here, which is much to the liking of the team after what has you guys documented just tumultuous Darlington for the entire HMS crew. Spoke to Rudy Fugle. He said, boy, we had a come to Jesus meeting just a little bit just about how we need to execute. They were not happy and they were visibly and emotionally just spent after that race, and they came together and said, we got to execute, and it starts this weekend, and they have to really start to level up their program if they're going to be a contender from here on out. And so hopefully here at the end of this practice session, they get a little bit better in the window for the Chevrolet. But again, the long run speed is where they're focusing on. They feel like William Byron's starting to get happy with this race car.
William Byron and Hendrick Motorsports diamonding the corners, Mike. Yes, you think in your mind immediately what the shape of a diamond is, but how do you do that in a race car?
So you come off the end of the straightaway, and the traditional line that a car will take is you'll turn the wheel and you'll turn it to the bottom of the racetrack or whatever lane you choose, and you'll keep that lane all the way through the corner and all the way to the next straightaway. When you diamond a corner, you come off the end of the straightaway, and as you make your way into the corner, instead of steering all the way through to make it just a rounded edge, you steer it and then you go up to the center of the corner in a straight line, turn the car, and you drive the car straight off. By driving the car straight off onto the straightaway, in theory, that should build more speed.
Think about the letter U is round all the way at the bottom. The letter V comes to a point and then straight right off instead of a continuous arc. So, yeah, I mean, that's a great explanation. You should work in radio. That is part of the tricks and things. You have 25 minutes. If your car's handling well, you don't have to worry about figuring out handling of your race car. You can go out there and you can try different things and try to figure out different techniques that you can do to try to make better lap times, which could translate into the race. The idea, obviously, is to come out and win tomorrow's Enjoy Illinois 300.
I just saw something on the racetrack that was very interesting. Bubba Wallace is rolling right now on this racetrack. He came up on Chase Elliott. Elliott just let him go, and Bubba Wallace has left Chase Elliott by a country mile. Not saying that Chase Elliott's car is bad by any means, but Bubba Wallace has got a stud of a race car right now. Made that move, leaving Chase Elliott in the dust. And Bubba Wallace has, I would say, Alex, put about a second and a half of separation just in 1 lap and a half between himself and the driver of the Napa number 9.
That lap for Bubba Wallace, 33.914 seconds around. Chase Elliott's lap, 35.397 to your point.
Wow.
There's quite the speed difference. Now, we'll keep a close eye on Chase Elliott's car and see what his lap time is this time. Did Chase slip in the corner trying something different? Is he out there with an ill-handling car? Much better this time for Chase Elliott at 33.9 seconds.
2 minutes and 10 seconds remain for Group 2 cars in their practice session for the Enjoy Illinois 300. Once they get buttoned up, it's directly into qualifying for said race for tomorrow. Everybody gets a lap. And then, Alex, once that exercise is done, we've set ourselves up for a dandy tonight, the regular season finale for the NASCAR Xfinity Series.
Yeah, we do, as we get set for that race here later on this evening. You know, the Xfinity Series putting on their last race of the regular season, and there's still playoff spots up for grabs out there. Some drivers have the opportunity to clinch on points depending on how they do in the stage. But the fact of the matter is there's I guess you can call it a family feud for the last position in, unless somebody from below that cut line jumps up and wins the race.
And that family feud involves Burtons, the cousin Burtons. Harrison is above the cut line. You've got Jeb below the cut line. So Harrison will try to race his way into the 2025 NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs tonight, but Jeb would love to take that glory away from Harrison.
Yeah, he absolutely would. And again, that will be later on tonight. You can hear that broadcast 7 o'clock Eastern time later on this evening here from Worldwide Technology Raceway. We are down to the final 50 seconds now of practice for the NASCAR Cup Series in tomorrow's Enjoy Illinois 300. Ty Gibbs is still the fastest overall in single lap speeds. He got that back in Group 1. Kyle Larson here in Group 2, second quick in single lap speeds. Then it's Brad Keselowski, Carson Hocevar, Todd Gilliland, Cole Custer, Michael McDowell, Zane Smith, John Hunter Nemechek, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the 10 fastest in single lap speeds.
Got some drivers that are just trying to milk this session for all they can. Chase Elliott just put in his 41st lap. So did William Byron. So did Ryan Blaney. Joey Logano and Ty Gibbs have put 40 laps into this session, while on the other side, you've got Todd Gilliland. Alice, who only had 17 laps on the racetrack. That could make for an interesting dynamic come qualifying time.
Yeah, it could, and maybe Gilliland felt good enough about his car. Maybe he didn't want to burn as much fuel out of the tank. Maybe he wanted a different setup on the race car for qualifying and to get ready to go racing here. As practice is over with the red and black flags in the air from the starter's stand, and that means practice is over. We'll focus now on qualifying for the Enjoy Illinois 300. That's coming up next from Worldwide Technology Raceway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
In Illinois, it's easy to get caught up in the rush, flying through history on Route 66, America's most famous road trip, or turning your world upside down on coasters at Six Flags Great America. But when you're in the middle of everything, don't forget to slow down and enjoy every pit stop, from delicious deep dish bites to breathtaking views. Because in Illinois, even the detours are legendary. Plan your trip at enjoyillinois.com. Illinois, the middle of everything.
Hello?
Hey, Tim. It's your man tank. I think those veggies in the crisper are drying up.
I know. I've been meaning to eat those. I'll get around to it.
Get around to it.
I will, man. Jeez. All right?
Or just eat Jack Link's jerky. Smoked, seasoned. Some real meat would do you a lot of good, Tim. Jack Link's beef jerky. Official meat snack of NASCAR. Feed your wild side.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
We welcome you back to Worldwide Technology Raceway. At the moment, big old white puffy cloud passing by, giving these race fans here some shade and a little heat relief as the sun beating down. It's not even 80 degrees here today, but the sun's still beating down and gives these fans a little break of the sun hitting them on top of their heads.
Yes, and it is a beautiful day, as Alex mentioned, 77 degrees, not oppressive like it has been. We understand, though, that when we depart the property on Monday, middle of next week, the heat's going to get turned back up. but we're getting in again. This almost reminds me of Iowa a few weekends ago when the temperatures were in the mid-70s, no humidity. And I know that the folks in this part of the country have been through a lot. A lot of wet weather and a lot of hot weather seem to be getting a break here right after Labor Day.
Yeah, they're absolutely right about that. But, I think given the fact that the winters can be very harsh here in the Midwest, especially here in the St. Louis area, I think they'll hang on to whatever they can here of the warm air for at least a little while.
Right. And you talk about where this track is located and the weather patterns in this part of the country. This track gets put through extreme heat, but it also goes through a freeze and a thaw. Obviously in the wintertime and then emerging into spring. This track has basically got a great racing surface. Everybody is able to take to it quite nicely. Goodyear has adjusted the tire offering for this weekend, and we're all waiting to see how that will unfold. Let's get the thoughts of Michael McDowell with Steve Post.
You guys were giving us during the break period the fastest 5-lap, 10-lap, and 15-lap average, and the number 71 car was on the long-run averages pretty good. Yeah. Michael, how is the race car? How did it feel?
It's actually really good, like you said. Fire-off speed was okay. Wasn't fantastic, but long-run speed felt pretty good. Delaware Life Chevy was in the game. We still need a few little tweaks here. But the track was changing a lot there as it was taking rubber. You saw guys moving up and using that higher groove and getting good shots down the straightaway. But now it's all about that one lap in qualifying. So, unfortunately, we got to go out early here. But I'm going to give it everything we got and see if we can't get a good starting spot for tomorrow.
So much uncertainty, the tire coming into it, what the track was going to do, the cool temperatures. Which one of those variables or any of those variables caught you by surprise, or was any of those variables that didn't really catch you by surprise?
No, I think we did a good job of, understanding what we needed to do, unloading. Felt very similar to last year. I didn't notice a huge difference in the tires. It didn't throw us any loops, but practice shorter runs, you really don't see where the tire's going to go. You're going to need 50, 60 laps before you can see that.
That's Michael McDowell, the Delaware Life colors on the Chevrolet. He's ready to go out and qualify, and he's one of the first cars to get time here this afternoon and give us good benchmark, at least early in the day, as to where things are going to shake out.
Michael McDowell will be set to go qualifying. He'll be the third car to go on the racetrack when we begin qualifying, which is coming up shortly. From Worldwide Technology Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
You've never been one to idly watch someone else do something for you. There's pride in self-reliance, in working with your hands, in harnessing the power of an E3 spark plug with Diamond Fire technology, yielding better engine performance. You have a choice to make. Take control of your ride, of your life, or be the passenger princess of it. Visit e3sparkplugs.com to put the power in your hands.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Black Buffalo products are intended for adults age 21 and older who are consumers of nicotine or tobacco.
Hey, it's Ryan Blaney, 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion. If you know me, I did Black Buffalo Long Cut. Black Buffalo is America's only credible smokeless tobacco alternative. Black Buffalo was established in America in 2015, and it dips just like the real thing, without the tobacco leaf or stem. You can find Black Buffalo at thousands of retailers across the USA near you. Black Buffalo Tobacco Alternative. If it's everything you love about dip, nothing you don't.
We welcome you back to Worldwide Technology Raceway. The teams are beginning to push their cars to the exit of pit road, the head of the grid, to get ready for qualifying. One of the faster cars on single-lap speeds was Todd Gilliland, although Chris Wilner, he didn't run a ton of laps.
He didn't. We're going to ask him why. So, Todd, a lot of drivers ran 30, 40-some laps. You guys didn't. What was the reasoning behind it?
There really was no reasoning. I think, I scraped the wall a little bit, so we want to check that out. Also, just our pace has fallen off quite a bit. So, just didn't feel really confident enough to keep running, right? We felt like we needed to make changes. So, our first few laps speed looked really good. Obviously, we're, fit there. But, I definitely think still some work to do. And we have the team to do it. So, we're going to keep working at it and see what we can do today and then, more importantly, tomorrow.
No, you didn't get a whole lot of consecutive green flag running in, but when you look at this tire and the package running here at Gateway, what has maybe surprised you or not surprised you?
Yeah, to me it seems like a lot of the same, to be honest. I thought, the guys in Group B there that, their fire-off wasn't as fast. I think, obviously, track conditions, and then their fall-off was, probably half a second over 40 laps, which wasn't a whole lot, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of track position. It's going to be a tough race to pass, and yeah, if you have your car, good enough in a box of, a window, you want to make your pit stops really fast, strategy, all that stuff.
That's Todd Gilliland. He's got the Morton Buildings colors on his Ford Mustang Dark Horse. He'll climb aboard and qualify here in just a minute.
And he will be joined on the racetrack shortly by Daniel Suarez, who's with Steve Post.
Mike, I've had breakfast with you multiple times, and boy, I'm telling you, you will love this car. It is Choice Privilege Hotels, and it is a waffle, because that's what they're known for the breakfast. So they've got waffles and syrup coming down the race car. Daniel, I'm telling you, the car looks delicious. It looks awesome. How did it feel, though, from the driver's seat?
It tastes pretty good. It tastes pretty good. No, honestly, the 99 Choice Privilege Hotel felt pretty good. It felt worse than the speed that the car has, which is actually a good thing. So hopefully we can make the car a little bit better balance-wise, and I feel like the car has potential, has pretty good speed.
How does the driver deal with that when it feels worse but the lap times are good? How do you balance that as a race car driver? Because lap time ultimately is all that matters, really.
You just want to be fast. Well, whatever it takes to go fast. With that being said, in the short run, the balance was overlapping the speed. So if we fix the balance a little bit more, our short run speed is going to be better. And I believe that our short run speed, or long run speed, actually was pretty sporty right there then.
We shall see what happens with it. It's the Choice Hotels waffle car for Daniel Suarez, ready to go out here in just a little bit.
And Choice Hotels and a waffle to the Beefaroo car with Noah Gregson. Let's hear from Noah.
Yeah, Noah Gregson. Steve Post was talking to Daniel. He's got a waffle on his car. You've got a cheeseburger here with Beefaroo. Are you trying to make us hungry?
I don't know about that, but yeah, got a good-looking car out here, and St. Louis is always a fun town to come to, and tough, challenging track. Been coming here since 2017, back in the trucks, so I have a little bit of experience around here. Our number 4 Ford Mustang it's decent. I feel like we got some stuff to work on, but going out a little bit later than normal here in qualifying, which is nice. I had a good weekend last weekend out at Darlington. So we're growing as a team. We're building, trying to be better each and every week. And hopefully we could have a solid qualifying run here and get some track position to start tomorrow off.
How big is track position here? What can you do to make up some maybe here if you lose some? But obviously it's a tough place to pass.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough tomorrow. It's an incredibly hard place to pass. The track does seem like it widened out a lot during practice, so I think that was good. But at the same time, looking at last year and the last couple races, it seems like, you could have a guy that has the fastest car and runs and leads 100 laps, and you have a bad pit stop or whatever, and you get shoveled back to 15th. He might run 14th or 15th. It's just incredibly hard to pass with how good all these drivers are and how close the cars are. Just being able to be perfect and executing out a good race tomorrow and minimizing mistakes is probably the biggest thing, but it's not impossible to pass, but it's really challenging.
That's Noah Gregson. He's going to hope to not have that problem by qualifying up towards the front. We'll see what he can do here in just a minute.
We've gone from waffles to burgers. Now let's go to fish. Long John Silver's on the quarter panels of Zane Smith's car, Steve Post.
Yes, we continue the food tour here at Gateway with Long John Silver's on the car. Zane, what we're talking about, we've done Daniel Suarez waffles, we've done the burgers here for Noah. Now we're talking Long John Silver's with you. So how has this? How's the menu been? How's things looking on the Long John Silver's car as you get ready to qualify?
Yeah, our Long John Silver's Ford is pretty good. I feel pretty good about it. So it showed good speed. Held on pretty well, so yeah, hope to qualify well and have a good day tomorrow.
Look at this racetrack. How does this evolve? How does this racetrack, even beyond your group? You were out there, but we saw it move and migrate around. How wide is this racetrack going to get, and what are some of the challenges this place brings?
Yeah, that's the downfall of being in the first group is just you don't really get to experience what the track really is, and so I was talking to Todd a little bit, and we were pretty committed to being bottom for sure down in 3 and 4, and then you watch the end of practice there where a lot of speed is made up top, and so now there's just some unknowns, but get to watch some cars, so hopefully
see what happens with it. That is Zane Smith down here. Remember, guys, 2022, Zane Smith made his Cup Series debut at this racetrack, filling in for Chris Buescher.
Yeah, he did. As Zane Smith, a Craftsman Truck Series champion. Qualifying, by the way, is underway. Cody Ware, first driver on the track. You get 1 lap of qualifying. Cody Ware, 33.650 seconds, 133.730 miles per hour, the average speed.
Back to pit road and Chris.
Brad Keselowski was best out of the 10-lap average. First of all, congratulations, Sterling, born last week, your 4th child. How does it feel? And you guys got your hands full, I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of things going on, but all good things. We're really blessed, and I got to pay for these kids, so I better go out here and run well. And I think we have a great shot. Super Mustang. It was pretty good practice. We ended up 3rd there, and just got to go execute this qualifying lap.
How big is track position here at Gateway, and what kind of speed on the single lap do you have here in qualifying?
Hard to say what we're going to have in the single lap. A lot of track conditions. The sun, as you can tell, is coming in and out, which dramatically affects the speed and the handling of the car. So that'll all come into effect. But I felt like overall our car in race trim was really solid. We were doing all the right things we needed to do, and we had a good test, or learned from our test, and applied some good lessons here.
That's Brad Keselowski. He's getting ready to get aboard his Ford F1 Mustang, the consumer cellular colors on that car, and finished 3rd here last year. We'll see what happens here in qualifying.
Yeah, that is a pretty good race car based off of what we saw in the practice session. As qualifying continues to roll on, Michael McDowell, who's one of the better cars today out of Group 1, flexes muscle again here in qualifying. McDowell goes to the top of the leaderboard. He is 2 miles an hour faster, or a half a second faster than the second car, which right now is Ty Dillon, and Cody Ware is back to 3rd. Riley Herbst is on the racetrack as we go to Steve Post.
Chris Buescher down here has the bodyguard colors. I love this orange and black paint scheme. The car looks really, really sharp down here. So, Chris, it's been a pretty good racetrack for you. What's there about this racetrack that has always suited you so well?
I don't know. It just kind of races like a very unique short track. So it's a fun racetrack to come to. Like I said, very, very different from most places. Doing a lot of shifting, a lot of setup, really long straightaways. So a lot of setup for those. I think see how qualifying goes here, but I know when we get into the race tomorrow, this bodyguard 4 will be.
How was what were the good parts and what were the bad parts about the car you had in today? What did you feel most best about?
I think we made some really good changes. We unloaded, and with a different tire, it took us a couple swings at it to get dialed in, and I think we're sneaking up on that. So, in fact, we're to the point now where I feel like the car is underneath me a lot better than where we unloaded, which obviously helps the confidence level when we sailed off into 1.
I am sure, that is for sure. That is Chris Buescher.
Michael McDowell leads, Riley Herbst 2nd, Ty Dillon 4th, Cody Ware 5th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is about to take the checkered flag as we're about to chat with Kyle Busch with Chris Wilner downstairs.
Yeah, the 2023 winner getting ready to go out and qualifying. Kyle, I know early in the practice session things weren't to your liking as far as the handling was concerned. Did you diagnose it, and what do you think you have here in qualifying?
I don't think we really diagnosed it, but just trying to continue to work on my comments and my issues and my areas of concern to make it feel better. The more it feels better, the faster you can drive it, harder you can drive it, faster you'll go. So, the Rebel Bourbon Chevrolet, not quite as we expected it to be here. Sim felt good. This did not. So, a little bit of work to do on our behalf, but we've got some good Chevy key partner notes to look at and hopefully resolve ours.
Track seemed to widen out a little bit. Did that surprise you at all? Were you able to search around a little bit?
The first session we were in didn't really widen out as much as I would have hoped it to be, but being in the first session, I didn't expect it. The second session looked a little bit wider, so I feel like that'll be more indicative of our race tomorrow.
All right, that's Kyle Busch getting ready to qualify the Rebel Bourbon Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing. Is Kyle, again, you heard it, wasn't happy with the race car. Let's see if they got it adjusted here in qualifying.
That can make it a little better if he has a good qualifying lap. He'll be out on the track in just a bit. Michael McDowell still the fastest. Justin Haley has just gone to 2nd. He too a Spire car, much like McDowell. Riley Herbst is 3rd. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 4th. Ty Dillon 5th. Cody Ware is 6th. Todd Gilliland is on the track. Back to Steve Post.
Eric Jones down here. We spent a little time with John Hunter Nemechek, his teammate, during his practice session. Eric, how was your race car?
Yeah, I think it was all right. It had an okay balance, at least good enough just to run the whole session. So felt like we had okay speed with a couple of things that I think we can get better for tomorrow. So we're just hoping we can qualify well. It's going to be tough to pass. So hopefully we get a good starting spot here in a minute.
2 straight top 5 finishes with Daytona and Darlington. What's it like as this team just continues to get better and better?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's just fun to drive good cars. You know, days like Darlington, it's fun to be fast and contend for the win, and it's fun to be in those pressure situations. So hopefully more of that, and you know, this would be a good place. If we could run well here, I think that'd mean a lot to our company. This is a track we haven't typically ran super great on, so it would be nice to have a good run.
Nice to see what happens. His best finish was 7th here back in 2022.
Talking with Ben Bayshore earlier this week, who is the crew chief for John Hunter Nemechek. They feel at Legacy Motor Club, Alex, that they've got the intermediates and the super speedways buttoned up. They're going to work on short tracks and road courses. Don't have to deal with the road course for a while, and the Roval, Bristol, though, is on the horizon for next weekend.
You know, to your point about needing to work on some short tracks, even though this track measures at 1.25 miles, certainly not a short track, we've heard different drivers already say it's got short track characteristics. I believe it was Chris Buescher said it drives like a really cool short track. So yes, while it's a 1.25 mile racetrack, so much about it with the tight cornering and the downshifting and things you have to do, it brings out the short track characteristics, and we'll find out which drivers and teams can adjust.
A.J. Allmendinger finished 5th last weekend at Darlington. Chris Wilner is with him.
Yeah, he certainly did, and he had a big smile on his face. Even MJ came by, gave him a little love tap, but you just told me that things are different here at Gateway. What was the biggest issue in practice for you?
Yeah, the smile of the MJ tap went away as we started practice there. No, just very tight. The Celsius Chevy was unfortunately we could see it from the first group when Ty went out there and he was struggling, so we kind of fought the same thing. Felt like Trent and the boys did a good job. We made a couple of changes. I think we made it a little bit better, at least something that we can go into tomorrow with the direction. I'm not sure what we got in qualifying. We'll just we'll go send this Celsius Chevy, and if it doesn't stick, hopefully I don't hit the wall.
These two ends are completely different. How hard is it to find a good balance that you want when the two corners of the racetrack are very different?
Yeah, for sure, but, you know, I guess in that fact, at least the car, I don't know, good or bad, the car reacted the same at both ends. But, yeah, definitely, you know, 1 and 2, you can charge off in the corner, use more brake, and 3 and 4 is more flowing. So, at least in race trim, we had a good balance of the rear of the car, so I wasn't ever, like, on the edge of that. But, yeah, this is a tough place, and we didn't make it easier on ourselves in practice, so we'll go see what we got.
That's A.J. Allmendinger as he gets set to climb aboard. That top 5, by the way, last week, his first since Charlotte in May. That was a big momentum boost for this team as they try to now find out some of the bugaboos and get this race car a little faster.
Right now, as we sit in qualifying, we got a waffle at the top of the leaderboard. Daniel Suarez, his car with the waffle paint scheme on it with Choice Hotels, is the fastest. Michael McDowell is second, and Cole Custer is third quick in qualifying. From Worldwide Technology Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Hello?
Hey, Tim. It's your man tank. I think those veggies in the crisper are drying up.
I know. I've been meaning to eat those. I'll get around to it.
Get around to it.
I will, man. Jeez. All right?
Or just eat Jack Link's jerky. Smoked, seasoned. Some real meat would do you a lot of good, Tim. Jack Link's beef jerky. Official meat snack of NASCAR. Feed your wild side.
Every time the siren sounds or lights flash, someone's life is on the line. At Whelen Engineering, we know first responders carry that weight every day. That's why for over 70 years, we've led the emergency warning industry, designing and manufacturing the lights, sirens, and safety systems they trust right here in America. Because when the mission is critical, there's no room for second best. Whelen Engineering, trusted to protect first responders.
And more. Search for NASCAR Live on your favorite podcast platform.
We welcome you back here to Worldwide Technology Raceway qualifying going on.
Practice and pole qualifying from Worldwide Technology Raceway is brought to you on MRN by E3 Spark Plugs. Stuck in slow motion? Unleash the NASCAR fire inside your engine with E3 Spark Plugs. Forget pit stops, too. E3 gives you maximum fuel efficiency for more miles on the road and less time at the pump. E3 Spark Plugs. Power, speed, Domination. Get yours today.
Back to pit lane and Steve Post.
William Byron down here leaning up against his race car. And William, during your practice session, our guys talked about maybe a different line, maybe diamonding the corner. Did you find something that worked for your Chevy?
Yeah, it seemed like we had pretty decent long run pace. So, yeah, just trying to fine-tune the balance and study these guys for qualifying, just trying to figure out where I need to be for qualifying and hopefully get a good lap.
This track, no secret, has been a little bit of a challenge for you guys. What's a key area you've worked on coming into this weekend to try to make this a little bit better?
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of looked at everything, so feel like we're well prepared. You know, it seems like the car has pace, so just got to work our way through the weekend.
We'll see what happens with it. Pace, boy, I'll tell you what, not many excuses for pace. If you have speed in a race car, you can dial it up. And see, William Byron feeling pretty good about his automobile now.
Yeah, William Byron, I think when you have good long-run speed, because I think this race trends towards longer green flag runs, that could certainly be a benefit with, we got a new driver at the top of the leaderboard.
Ty Gibbs, 32.889 seconds, 136.824 miles an hour. Noah Gregson has gone to the number 2 spot. Daniel Suarez, Michael McDowell, Cole Custer the top 5. Todd Gilliland is 6th. Justin Haley is 7th. Riley Herbst is 8th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 9th. Ty Dillon in 10th. Cody Ware is 11th of the 11 that have gone.
And the blue, yellow, and white Long John Silver's Ford Mustang Dark Horse on the track for Huntington Beach, California's Zane Smith, who comes up off turn number 4. Back on the throttle. Checkered flag is in the air. Zane Smith will go to the top of the leaderboard. What a lap for Zane Smith. He goes to the top at 32.674 seconds, 137.724 miles per hour.
Brad Keselowski coming up to qualify. Ryan Preece as well. Carson Hocevar, Chris Buescher, Kyle Busch, John Hunter Nemechek, A.J. Allmendinger, Eric Jones, and others as this qualifying session is clicking off in short order.
Yeah, it is. As we look back at the track record for the Cup Series here in qualifying, that is held by Michael McDowell at 32.318 seconds, 139.241 miles per hour. He set that 1 year ago. McDowell has already qualified here today. 5th best right now for McDowell. Zane Smith now at the top of the leaderboard as he's closed in on a track record, but not quite there as of yet. Brad Keselowski on the track now.
He just takes the checkered flag, 32.957 seconds, 136.542. That puts him 3rd overall of the 13 that have taken time so far.
Here's Ryan Preece, also out of the RFK stables. Preece on the racetrack now as he makes his way up off of turn number 2, rockets down that back straightaway, which almost goes to driver's right as it widens out, headed off into much wider turn 3 and 4. And Ryan Preece will get his lap in here in just a moment. Preece now up off of turn number 4, coming back down to the line.
He is sawing on the steering wheel inside of that race car, and he comes to the checkered flag. Let's see what Ryan Preece can do. 10th of the 14 cars that have taken time so far. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Motor Racing Network. NASCAR Cup Series qualifying for the Enjoy Illinois 300 underway at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Welcome to Motor Racing Network's live coverage of it. Mike Bagley alongside Alex Hayden, Steve Post, and Chris Wilner are in the pits and into the garage areas. 14 cars into this qualifying session, and right now it's all Zane Smith at the top of the leaderboard.
With Ty Gibbs second quick, Brad Keselowski third, Noah Gregson fourth, and Daniel Suarez rounds out the top 5. Here comes Carson Hocevar to the checkered flag. Carson will be 6th best on his qualifying lap for the Ziegler Chevrolet out of the Spire Motorsports stables.
Chris Buescher comes off turn 4. He'll take the green flag. Behind Chris, Kyle Busch is queued up to go, along with John Hunter Nemechek, A.J. Allmendinger, Eric Jones, Josh Berry, Alex Bowman, and Shane Van Gisbergen.
Let's hear from fan favorite Chase Elliott. He's with Chris Wilner.
He's got the Napa colors on the Chevrolet. Chase, you ran a lot of laps in practice. What did you learn about your race car here this afternoon?
Yeah, I think the test up here a few weeks ago with Kyle, I think was helpful for us. I thought we were way more in the ballpark than I remember last year. So hopefully we can get a good qualifying effort here and go to work tomorrow.
How hard was this week just as an organization, and how do you reset this weekend?
Just go back to work, man. That's all you can do. You can, you can't just live in those bad days too terribly long. So obviously we want to make sure it makes us better as a group. We never want to have days like that. We all expect more of ourselves, but nonetheless, it's a new opportunity this weekend, and it kind of starts back over at zero. So up to us to make it happen.
Thanks, Chase. Chase Elliott, good perspective. It's focus forward for the entire Hendrick Motorsports organization as we get set to see them qualify in just a minute.
Of course, the bad day he's referring to is the bad day for Hendrick Motorsports at Darlington Raceway last weekend in the Cookout Southern 500.
Yeah, neither one of the four drivers really had anything to jump up and down about 1 week ago at Darlington. I loved his comments, though. You can't dwell on the past too long. Certainly you go back, digest it, let your team of engineers and mechanics begin to figure out, because we are going to be going back to Darlington Raceway twice next year. Go ahead and figure out we got to get better when we go back there as an organization. But got a big race to do this weekend as well.
You can't put a lot of energy in looking forward or looking backward, because you're taking energy from looking forward. Understand what went wrong, understand where you need to improve, and immediately apply it, because you don't have time for that elongated correction, Alex. You got to correct things immediately, and we'll see if they're able to do that tomorrow with this race 2 in the playoffs.
There's a reason why the windshield's much bigger than the rear view mirror. You got to look forward and have a better perspective on where you're heading as an organization. John Hunter Nemechek is on the racetrack now after a great top 5 finish 1 week ago at the track. Too tough to tame. Here he is with his qualifying lap.
John Hunter Nemechek to position number 3 on the leaderboard. 136.978 miles an hour. That's 32.852 seconds. So it's Zane Smith, Chris Buescher, John Hunter Nemechek, Ty Gibbs, and Kyle Busch, the top 5 so far.
The rest of the top 10 are Brad Keselowski in 6th. Noah Gragson is 7th. Daniel Suarez is 8th. Carson Hocevar 9th. And Michael McDowell rounds out the top 10. From Worldwide Technology Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Black Buffalo products are intended for adults age 21 and older who are consumers of nicotine or tobacco.
Hey, it's Ryan Blaney, 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion. If you know me, I did Black Buffalo Long Cut. Black Buffalo is America's only credible smokeless tobacco alternative. Black Buffalo was established in America in 2015, and it dips just like the real thing, without the tobacco leaf or stem. You can find Black Buffalo at thousands of retailers across the USA near you. Black Buffalo Tobacco Alternative. If it's everything you love about dip, nothing you don't.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-212-2828. 800-212-2828. That's 800-212-2828.
We welcome you back to Worldwide Technology Raceway, qualifying for tomorrow's Enjoy Illinois 300. The winner of this race a year ago was Austin Cindric. Let's hear from him now.
Austin Cindric gained 10 points on the cut line last week at Darlington, one of the few that had a relatively good day. So as you come back to this place here as the defending winner, what are the vibes like around this camp, and do you think you have the car to maybe go back-to-back here at Gateway?
Yeah, no, definitely same goal as last week, continue to ooch forward, and if that's a race win or if that's just solid points, we need one of the two. So, no, it's been a decent start here. I was definitely interested. We were talking about how much the track moved around in practice, and definitely a good feel for what it's going to be like in the race, because I don't see it evolving a ton more than that. So, no, I just got to go lay a lap down here. It's going to be a pretty important qualifying session, get a good pit stall, and be able to set yourself up for the strategy in stage 1.
How much do you have to attack in this qualifying lap, and how hard do you have to drive it in the corner and trust that it'll stick?
There's a lot of trust, for sure, to do any one of these qualifying sessions, but especially here with as many shifts and braking markers and things you kind of got to go through, and with as line sensitive as the track's gotten as it's rubbered up. So it should be an interesting session, and try and hit my marks.
That's Austin Cindric, the defending winner of this race in the Freightliner Ford Mustang.
And that's an important thing that Austin describes, Alex, because of these straightaways that are so long and the braking zones are so heavy. It's so easy to overdrive turn 1 here at Gateway We've seen drivers already in practice that will send it off in there, and next thing you know, they're washing up the racetrack. They got a little too much, or they got more than what they bargained for to be able to get maximum speed, woe the car down, heavy brake it, and then do all the work that they need to do in the corners. It's quite the handful, and it asks a lot of the driver, and that is with the driver shifting twice going into the corner.
Throw in the fact you got 35, 37 other race cars all around you, and you're trying to do all that inside the cockpit of your race car without making any mistakes out there at all. And that's why these drivers are the best on the planet when it comes to stock car racing. A.J. Allmendinger, on the heels of a great Southern 500, backs it up with a good qualifying effort. He'll go to the number 3 spot here early on in qualifying. Zane Smith, still the best of everybody. Chris Buescher second, Allmendinger third, John Hunter Nemechek is fourth, and his Legacy Motor Club teammate Eric Jones is on the racetrack.
Eric Jones takes the Family Dollar car off the end of the back straightaway while we check in with Steve Post.
Denny Hamlin down here keeping an eye on the Eric Jones car. Denny, when we look at this racetrack, 2 straight second-place finishes, how does this car compare to what you've had in the past couple of years here?
We got a little bit of work to do, but overall feel fairly happy with the Progressive Toyota. Just go out here, try to get us a top 10 starting spot, and see where we end up tomorrow. But overall, it's just pretty pedestrian day.
When we look at this racetrack, phrases difficult to pass in short race. How important then does that make this qualifying session here today?
Yeah, I mean, passing definitely is going to be difficult, but it looked like the track was starting to widen out there in practice, so that should help with things. And but nothing replaces a good pit stall and a good starting spot.
Boy, that is wisdom right there. Nothing does replace. Well, in a fast race car as well. That's Denny Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin waits for his turn to go out onto this 1.25-mile race course to get his qualifying lap in. Zane Smith is the fastest. We begin playoff competitors qualifying right now. Josh Berry, after a dismal start to his playoffs at Darlington after a Turn 2 Lap 1 crash, just goes to the number 3 spot in qualifying.
Josh Berry, the 16th of 16 drivers on the playoff leaderboard, tied with Alex Bowman, 19 points below the cut line. Back to Chris.
Ross Chastain has the Busch Light colors, of course, in the backyard of Anheuser-Busch, and what a big weekend this is. First off, some of the MRN crew got to go down and visit the brew house and everything down there. How special is it to be a part of not only this company, but be at their home race, too, as well?
It's amazing. From the first time I got to go to beer school over there at the brewery, you just get to see, as y'all did, you get to see behind the scenes of why the brand has been so successful and why the family so long ago, now they invested in their company. They've set themselves up for success for generations and decades and a long time to come. So definitely a cool experience. Glad y'all got to do that. I mean, I'm sure you drank some, like, the freshest beer you've ever drank. So as beer drinkers, we like that. So, yeah, to represent Busch Light and to carry their colors here, it means a lot. And such an iconic brand and iconic colors in this sport. We're just the next team that gets to do it.
All right, so how is the race car? Can you put on a good show for them tomorrow?
I think we can put on a good show. I'd like it to be a boring show. We were just out front so far. So, yeah, we're not quite where we want to be, and I didn't help us at the beginning of practice. I worked my way, I think, to a better spot, but definitely wasn't natural feeling at the start, and had to work at it in practice. So, yeah, as always, a lot riding on qualifying, and we'll go see what we can do here.
That's Ross Chastain, and yeah, thank you to Trackhouse. The MRN crew had a great time over there, and I can't confirm, we did have some of the freshest beer I think you could have. It was some 4 hours old. Pretty new, pretty fresh, but Ross Chastain hoping to have a good show for the Busch Light and Anheuser-Busch group here this weekend.
I was back at the hotel reading the Gideons. I was not able to participate. No, I was in an airplane.
While you were reading Matthew 4, I was on beer number 3.
Oh, you were having communion of your own, son.
I was. And yeah, it was spectacular. We were there, 2.5, 3 hours. We got to see just about everything you can do behind the scenes, and a great time. And yeah, we literally got beer right out of the finished. It's the most massive tank I've ever seen in my life. It was unbelievable.
Well, glad you guys had a good time. Christopher Bell just goes to the top of the leaderboard. 1:38.410 miles an hour, 32.512 seconds. So it's Christopher Bell leading the way. Zane Smith second, Chris Buescher third, Josh Berry fourth, Eric Jones running out the top 5. Austin Dillon's on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, and something Brad Keselowski said on his interview just a moment ago, this track is very temperature sensitive, so if the clouds come in, the speed can pick up. Right now, this entire facility is under some cloud cover as Christopher Bell rocketed to the top. Here's Austin Dillon in his black and purple and blue Chevrolet. It's a beautiful Dow car as he makes his way up off turn number 4 and comes back down to the line.
Checkered flag is waving for Austin at the start-finish line. Austin Dillon goes to 5 on the leaderboard with a 32.75 second lap, 137.375 miles an hour. As Austin Dillon cools down from his lap, Joey Logano takes the green for his.
Joey Logano, a driver that certainly knows how to get around this Worldwide Technology Raceway, and he needs something good to happen here. Logano's got top 5 finishes in all 3 races that the Cup Series have run here, including a win back in 2022. So Joey Logano understands the track, adjusts well, and this will see, I think, a pretty good mark for Team Penske and what Logano can do right here.
Hunt Brothers Pizza on the quarter panels, a bright green race car this weekend for Joey. He'll bring that Ford Mustang out of turn number 4 to the start-finish line to complete his lap of qualifying.
5th best for Joey Logano at the moment, with Christopher Bell still being the fastest. Zane Smith hanging in there in 2nd. Chris Buescher is 3rd. 4th is Josh Berry. And 5th is Joey Logano.
Still to come in this qualifying session, it will be Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, Austin Cindric, Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, and Chase Briscoe. And then qualifying will be over for the Enjoy Illinois 300.
Got another Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet on the racetrack. It's William Byron who works his way down the backstretch. His teammate Alex Bowman has already qualified. Bowman back in the 15th spot as of right now. We'll find out what Byron's got for the field as he makes his way through turns 3 and 4.
Looking like it's going to be a good lap. He is steaming for the finish line. Checkered flag is waving, and to the top he'll go. William Byron, 138.602 miles an hour, 32.467 seconds. It's Byron, Bell, Zane Smith, Buescher, and Berry. From Worldwide Technology Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
You've never been one to idly watch someone else do something for you. There's pride in self-reliance, in working with your hands, in harnessing the power of an E3 spark plug with Diamond Fire technology, yielding better engine performance. You have a choice to make. Take control of your ride, of your life, or be the passenger princess of it. Visit e3sparkplugs.com to put the power in your hands.
Hello?
Hey, it's your man Tank. Watching you hold back tears swallowing that celery stick. It's a hard sight to see, Tim.
I'm almost done. Just let me get this down.
Stop it, man. Seriously. We don't have to do this to us.
You're right. I hate veggies so much. How can I be more like you?
Hey, buddy, I am you. Just full of meat. Jack Link's Beef Jerky, official meat snack of NASCAR. Feed your wild side.
Back at Worldwide Technology Raceway, we're getting ready to wrap up qualifying for the Enjoy Illinois 300. William Byron just put the fastest lap up on the board. Christopher Bell, Zane Smith, Chris Buescher, Josh Berry are the top 5. Let's get the thoughts of last weekend's race winner at Darlington. That would be Chase Briscoe.
And he is now a 2-time Southern 500 champion. And Chase, we've talked so much about the history of Darlington and everything, but let's just talk as far as this season goes. How important was it to get off to such a good playoff start?
Yeah, I mean, it's always important just, be able to kind of look ahead at round 2 way earlier than other guys can. So, yeah, definitely, a great way to start. Obviously a momentum builder too, confidence builder. So, yeah, hopefully they can carry that on to this week. And, all the way through the playoffs.
We shall see what happens. That's Chase Briscoe. He will be the last car to qualify. He's getting ready to climb aboard this automobile and head onto the speedway.
Try to get out there and flog the field and continue to put the gauntlet down here in the opening round of the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs as qualifying continues on here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. 3rd of 4 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolets is on the track. This time it's Chase Elliott.
Elliott will take that yellow and blue Napa number 9 Chevrolet Camaro Camaro into turns 1 and 2. Alex, he's got his hands full just watching him navigate the car around the racetrack and shifting up and down. Corners just sawing back and forth on the steering wheel. He's trying to get every ounce of speed he can. It looks to be a good qualifying lap so far. Question is, can he hang on to it and give his teammate a run for the pole?
The teammate being William Byron, the fastest so far. Alex Bowman, his other teammate, back in 16th. Here comes Chase Elliott down to the line. Checkered flag is out. Elliott will be 11th on the board for Chase Elliott. So Hendrick Motorsports so far, 3 cars kind of dot the running order up and down. Top, middle, and towards the bottom.
Now the driver on the racetrack is Ryan Blaney. 1 lap shy of winning this race a year ago. Coming out of turn number 4, right before he got to the start-finish line, the car ran out of fuel. He was quickly bypassed by his teammate Austin Cindric, and Cindric went on to win the race. That definitely was one that got away for Ryan Blaney, who most recently won the regular season finale at Daytona International Speedway.
He's got a bright yellow and white Menards Pennzoil Ford Mustang Dark Horse. Had a big wiggle there in turns 1 and 2, but the lap other than that looks relatively clean for Blaney. See if he's got the speed that can carry him all the way to the top of the leaderboard.
Can he surpass William Byron at the top? Yes, he can. Ryan Blaney goes to the number 1 spot. 138.752 miles an hour, 32.432 seconds. And Ryan Blaney, Alex, who was faster in practice early on, seeming to be backing up that performance with another one here in qualifying.
Ryan Blaney just seems to be turning it on here in the summer months, heading into the playoffs when you need to be peaking at your best. And Blaney and that team have things pointed in the right direction as Kyle Larson works his way down the backstretch in his HendrickCars.com Chevrolet on his qualifying lap.
Got a good run coming out of turn number 2, blasting his way up the back straightaway. Now he'll dial up the low lane through turns 3 and turn 4. Kyle Larson on the hammer, back to the checkers.
Here's Larson. The checker flag is out, and Kyle Larson to the top. Larson the fastest in qualifying as they begin to just now take their turns on leading qualifying. Byron led it for a bit, then it was Blaney for about 45 seconds or so, and now Kyle Larson goes to the top of the leaderboard as he's on his cool-down lap. The green flag goes in the air for another Team Penske Ford.
And that would be Austin Cindric, the defending winner of this race. He'll be followed by Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, and Chase Briscoe, and then qualifying for the Enjoy Illinois 300 will be over. Here's Cindric off the end of the back straightaway. He'll take that blue and black Freightliner Ford Mustang to the bottom of turns 3 and 4.
See what he's got now as he exits turn number 4 for Austin Cindric. Won this race a year ago. Cindric back through the gearbox. Checkered flag is in the air, and Austin Cindric will go to 5th on the leaderboard. So it's still Kyle Larson at the top, Ryan Blaney 2nd, William Byron is 3rd, Christopher Bell currently 4th, and Austin Cindric now 5th.
6th is Zane Smith, Chris Buescher is 7th, Josh Berry is 8th, Joey Logano is 9th, and Austin Dillon round out the top 10.
The Busch Light Chevrolet on the racetrack now is Ross Chastain from the Trackhouse Racing Stables. Here's Chastain now off turn number 2. Now sprints his way up that long back straightaway. Passes the truck stop there just behind the backstretch right off of Interstate 70, and he makes his way into turn number 3.
Here's Ross Chastain. Had the pleasure of spending some time with him in the booth last weekend in Darlington. He joined us on the NASCAR Racing Network for coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He's hung up the microphone. Now he's got the helmet firmly in his, I guess, on top of his head. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for.
In his aura. We'll go
in
his aura.
Ross Chastain second on top of the leaderboard.
Chastain goes to the number 2 spot for the 2nd consecutive week. A good qualifying effort for Ross Chastain. Let's see if he can now parlay that into a good race. Chastain backed up a pretty good qualifying effort last week, and let's see what he can do in tomorrow's Enjoy Illinois 300. Still a handful of cars still to qualify. Bubba Wallace is on the track now.
Matter of fact, he's on his green flag lap. He'll take that McDonald's Toyota off the end of the back straightaway. He'll aim those golden arches across the Turn 4 region now onto the start-finish line. Checkered flag is waving, and Bubba Wallace's lap is now complete.
That'll be 11th on the leaderboard for Bubba Wallace, as not what he was hoping to see right now. As a matter of fact, there's only one Toyota in the current top 10, and that's Christopher Bell in the number 5 spot.
Right now on the racetrack, the progressive Toyota for Denny Hamlin will take the green flag. Of course, Denny rallying back to a top 10 finish. Alex, we talk about the drivers having playoff trouble last week. He is one of the playoff drivers that had a stumble, maybe stumped their toe a little bit in Darlington a week ago.
Yeah, had a couple of bad pit stops down there and some mistakes on the track for Denny, but yeah, good rebound there. Denny, by the way, finished second here in the last 2 races for the NASCAR Cup Series at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Hamlin, pretty good lap going here at qualifying.
Denny Hamlin across the start-finish line, and to the top he goes. 139.190 miles an hour, 32.330 seconds. Denny Hamlin goes to the top of the leaderboard with 2 cars remaining to qualify.
The next on the track is the car that he owns and the driver he employs, and Tyler Reddick, who comes flying by the start-finish line. Green flag is out. Reddick, full speed, now stands on the brakes, downshifts not once but twice into turns 1 and 2.
Man, he dives for the bottom of the racetrack. Had a good run going through turns 1 and 2. Car looks pretty stable as he gets that good set midway between turns 1 and 2. Takes it up off 2 onto the back straightaway. Now let's see if he can maximize his car right now. He'll dial it right, not necessarily to the bottom of the racetrack, but about a lane off that bottom of the curbing.
Tyler Reddick comes back up off turn 4. Checkered flag is out. Reddick will go flying by the start-finish line. He'll go to the number 6 position on the leaderboard. We know there's going to be a Toyota on the pole for the Enjoy Illinois 300 because Denny Hamlin sits there now, and there's 1 car remaining. That is his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate in a Toyota, and Chase Briscoe is on the racetrack.
If Chase Briscoe is to win this pole today, it will be his 7th of 2025. He fell short last week at Darlington by 0.02 of a second. Coincidentally, Denny beat him for that pole position. Let's see what Chase Briscoe has right now. Looks to be a solid run for that Tracker Boats Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing. Here's Briscoe dialing up the low lane yet again. Let's see what Chase Briscoe has for him coming out of turn 4.
He is going to now let the car drift wide up off of turn number 4. Back on the throttle. Leaves plenty of room to drivers right off the wall. And Briscoe will be 3rd. Denny Hamlin has won the pole for the Enjoy Illinois 300 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. I'm a little perplexed. Chase Briscoe left a car width up off of turn number 4, didn't use much of the racetrack on exit of the corner at all, and Briscoe will be 3rd. So it's Denny Hamlin winning pole position. Kyle Larson will start 2nd. Chase Briscoe rolls 3rd. Ross Chastain will start 4th, and Ryan Blaney 5th. William Byron will start 6th. Tyler Reddick 7th. Christopher Bell 8th. Austin Cindric 9th, and Zane Smith 10th.
Chris Buescher will start 11th. Josh Berry 12th. Joey Logano 13th. 14th to Bubba Wallace. 15th to Austin Dillon, 16th Eric Jones, 17th A.J. Allmendinger, Shane Van Gisbergen 18th, Chase Elliott 19th, and John Hunter Nemechek in 20th.
21st is Ty Gibbs, 22nd Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski 23rd, Noah Gragson 24th, and Alex Bowman 25th. Daniel Suarez 26th, Carson Hocevar 27th, Michael McDowell 28th, Cole Custer 29th, and Todd Gilliland 30th.
Justin Haley will start tomorrow in the 31st position with Ryan Preece in 32nd, Riley Herbst 33rd, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 34th, and Ty Dillon will start 35th. Cody Ware starting shotgun on the field in the 36th and final position. So it's all over for practice and qualifying here at Gateway. Denny Hamlin will lead the field to the green flag, and he's with Steve Post.
Denny Hamlin down here celebrating the pole position, 46th career pole, and it's been, well, a week since you won your last one, Denny. That lap, was it a little bit of a surprise, or did you feel like you guys were a contender for the pole here today?
A little bit of a surprise. I had a lift there off of turn 2 that cost me some speed. I thought I nailed 3 and 4 pretty decent, but overall really happy with the adjustments we made there for qualifying, and now we see what happens here tomorrow.
Well, you talked about the adjustments last week. We talked at Darlington, and you felt like you guys found good direction from practice to qualifying. Did you need to find the same thing, or how do you feel about the car now on longer runs after you had some practice earlier today as well?
Yeah, we'll make good adjustments. I feel like we're in the ballpark. Just got to fine tune it here and there, and obviously a car that can make speed like that for one lap
on a tire that doesn't fall off a lot means it more than likely you can sustain it for a long distance.
We shall see what happens. We talked to Denny a little bit ago, and he said good pit stall selection, good track position, and, well, winning the pole position will do that. 133.190 was the speed. Denny Hamlin's going to lead us to green here tomorrow afternoon.
And be sure to join Motor Racing Network and NASCAR Live Race Day tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, our coverage of the Enjoy Illinois 300. Our thanks to Steve Post and Chris Wilner, who cover the action in the pits. On behalf of my broadcast partner, Alex Hayden, I'm Mike Bagley. Congratulations to Denny Hamlin and Joe Gibbs Racing. They will start on the pole for the Enjoy Illinois 300 tomorrow at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Motor Racing Network's coverage of NASCAR Cup Series practice and pole qualifying for the Enjoy Illinois 300 has come to you from Worldwide Technology Raceway. Presented on MRN by E3 Spark Plugs. Powerful and fuel efficient. Find E3 at your nearest auto parts store. Our coverage from Worldwide Technology Raceway has come to you under an exclusive radio license granted by Worldwide Technology Raceway to the Motor Racing Network, solely for the non-commercial use of our listening audience. Any use of the descriptions and accounts of this event without the express written permission of the Motor Racing Network is prohibited. Today's broadcast was directed by Pat Jaggers. Broadcast engineer Steve Fridley. Studio engineer Andy Pachenik. Audio engineer Craig Moore. The president of MRN is Chris Schwartz. Follow NASCAR every day at MRN.com. This broadcast was a production of the Motor Racing Network.